Well, my name is Peter Kewo, and I'm your tutor for visual arts. My cell phone number is 081-3383-070. And my email address is pkewo, that is pkewowo @gmail.com. I am available and very flexible with my time. You can contact me at any time, but in case you have got a specific question that you would like to ask, I prefer you sending me an SMS first so that I can read what your question is all about and also do a little bit of research depending on the information that you want. Then later on I will give you a go ahead to call so that we can discuss further if you will like to. Our lessons for today, we are covering almost all the 4 units in in your module, and due to time that we have in each and every unit, I only took maybe 2 to 3 topics that we'll cover. And as we go on with more lessons still to come, there will be updating each and every session as it comes. And if you can see on the slide, we have got the content, which is Unit 1, and the topic there is explain some basic visual arts perspectives. And Unit 2, we will look at the exam and demonstrate how to draw pictures. Unit 3, clarify and demonstrate how to make models. And Unit 4, illustrate and clarify constructing and collage work. So those are the 4 units that we will cover, and each and every under topic we have got subtopics, which as I stated earlier, maybe 2 in some units, and in some units we have 3. Mostly the first 2 in each and every unit, or the first 3 in each and every unit. Okay, let's start. Unit 1 explains some basic visual arts perspectives. And it's visual arts, and in the community where visual art is almost or somehow undervalued, I would say maybe we have got to explain, and also as we are explaining, we also need to involve our general understanding. So under Unit 1, as it starts with introductions, we look at this introduction. In this unit, you will learn about the aims of art education. Why do we learn art? And we should also ask ourselves questions. Is it important to learn art in school, in particular for the pre-primary learners? We will further explain to you the reason and the role of doing art with the learners and why the subject is important. We will look at the importance of visual arts, the subject that is, like I said before, undervalued and looked down at. Actually, if it would be home, parents will prefer you to do something else than and do art maybe in your time that you have got nothing to use it for. You will also learn about the stages of development that can be identified in artwork of young learners. We, as young learners, don't start drawing pictures as they are supposed to be. They have to learn. They start from a picture that you will not even understand, but they will be able to tell you what they write about. And as they grow within the visual art lessons, they pass from stage to stage, and as they pass from stage to stage, their level of drawing also improves. And this information will be very important to you as a prospectus. If you are not already teaching art, these are the information that you will need to pay attention to and to understand, so that when you become a teacher, or even if you are already a teacher, you can improve and also improvise where you can. Unit 1, 1.1, the aim of art education in primary school. In general speaking, when somebody talks about art, let's say at home, or meet somebody in the street, they will tell them, or they ask you, what are you? Tell them I'm an artist. In most things that they will ask you first is, can you draw me? Actually, that is the general understanding in our society when it comes to arts. They only think of drawing, and they don't think about it in a broader way. They don't ask themselves, maybe it's more than just drawing, which is really more than just the drawing. So if somebody asks you the question, like when somebody asks you why learners must do art, you will give them a short answer. Art is about expressing oneself. It's about communicating a message to the next person. And it's about creative order, learning how to be creative and also improving on your creativity orders. 1.1.1, what is art? Because I feel before we look at the aims of all the importance of art education in primary school, we should first understand what art is. It's have got an explanation which is not static. It's dynamic, and it depends on how one understands art. And I think each and every answer to this question will be correct as long as you understand the meaning of what art, or the term art, is itself. So what art is, what really art is a form, and it's a content. So when we say art is a form, what are we referring to? What are the forms of art? We say art is a form because we recognize that artists uses mediums and materials to create artwork. And on those mediums or materials, they apply the elements and the principles of art. And as we go on with our lessons, we will touch more in details of the elements and the principles of art, and also explain what we really mean by elements of art and the principles of art, so that we learn to understand what makes up an artwork. And so that is what artists do. They need medium. One will say material. Medium or material is the items, the things that you will need to create an artwork. Those are the media or the material. Let's say it's painting, then we'll say your medium is painting, and then what you will need is paint. If it's collage, we'll say then maybe if you are using a paper collage or paper mache, you will need glue and paper and a surface where you will be doing your collage. And so that is what makes up the piece of art. And in terms of content, when you have got your material and you have got your surface, you need, it's the same time, it means you have got something that you would like to communicate, what you want to talk about, something that you would like to express through your artwork. So form, art as a form, we refer to medium or materials, and as a content, we refer to the meaning or the message that is carried out in the artwork. So what is art education? Art education, the subject art falls within the beauty area of learning, and it has a definite thematic links with the other subjects. We follow learner-centered approach in art education, so that art can also be defined as a spontaneous, creative play, and that is what young learners naturally do. So when it comes, learners express themselves through singing, dancing, drawing, and role playing. So during art lessons, the learner engages all the senses, and involves a variety of modalities, which includes the auditory and the visual, and this is one word that I have always a problem with translating, kinesthetic, something like that. But in the slides, you will be able to get the pronunciation correct. So in that, we'll look at the art education. And art education includes 5 distinct areas that we'll discuss. Although this module will focus only on visual arts, but at some stages, because we have to understand that when we art, the term art itself involves more than just visual arts. So we will cover just a little bit of the other art mediums as well. So the five distinct areas are visual art, where learners express themselves in drawing and pattern making. So here the learners engage all uses the element of art. Like I said in the earlier beginning when we mentioned about the elements of art, I mentioned that we will be touching on them as the lessons goes on. So the elements of art that the learner uses when expressing themselves through their drawings or pattern makings, they includes a line, includes patterns, includes color, shape, texture, and space. So if you go in your module, you will also get the depth understanding and the detailed explanations or the meanings or descriptions of the elements of art, which are lines, patterns, color, shape, texture, and space. Learners also express themselves through music, singing, and percussion. Learners express through singing and playing instruments. And when we talk of instruments or playing instruments or singing, we talk about the duration. The duration, that's how long the song takes, the beats, the tones. Beats includes the tones and all the other contents that are involved to make or to create a beat, which is a sound that's supposed to be coming out. We talk about the rhythm, we talk about the pitch and the tempo. So learners do express themselves through singing and playing instruments, and they use those specific elements of music, which is duration, beat, rhythm, pitch, and tempo. Those are just, I think, the few of that I highlighted from the book, but in your module you can, they are more than that. That's why you should really make the use of that module. You should make the use of that module. And the other instinct area, we talk about the visual arts, we talk about the music, singing, and percussion. The third distinct area is dancing. Elements of body awareness, levels, force, flow, and time, as well as presentation. Learners express and represent what they observe, think, imagine, or feel through their movements. So as we said, art is all about expressing oneself. We express what we feel inside. So we can also, so that's why learners can also, through their dancing styles and techniques, expresses also and they represents what the situation they might be going through at that specific moment, or something that they have got a hobby of, something like that. And drama. This is, learner also express themselves through dramatization, role play, mimicry, structures of drama, and the presentations. Here learners express and represent what they observe, think, imagine through. It's more similar to dance. It's all about expressing what oneself feels. The last distinct area of art education is appreciating art. So if you look at the visual arts, music, dance, and drama, throughout, learners to evaluate and appreciate all these forms of creative art. So they evaluate and they appreciate each and every movement or technique of expression that they use in terms to see if they are really heard, if it's a message that they want to communicate, or if they are really doing it the way they are supposed to be. It's a self-explanation, expression, and it's also a self-evaluation so that they improve in their next activities. We are also looking at the value of visual arts. The value of visual arts, visual art education, general goal is to enrich the surrounding development of the learner through her creative work, the development of his and artistic aptitudes. Aptitudes, that is a term of expressing the built-in or developing what you are already born with. And the abilities, the development of love, respect, and the sensibility towards creative and artistic expression. So the value of visual art education is not only all about drawing beautiful pictures. It's more than that. It develops oneself abilities. It motivates, and it also develops cognitive abilities. It develops one's thinking. It also improves one's verbal communication. So it's this whole thing of visual arts and education, it's something that is very important, and it's good that we are starting with this at early stage in primary schools, because it does also enhance the concentration, the confidence within the student, and also it creates an independence within the learner, so that when working among others in a team, it's not something that is, it works on those aspects of one self-establishment. So we will look at a few of what the values of visual arts in education. And in your modules, I just highlighted a few that I think are relevant to talk about, but you can get all of them in your module. One of the value of visual art education is that it develops a positive attitude toward the visual art and a will to express themselves through artistic activities. So what do we understand here? Positive attitude toward visual art and a will to express themselves through artistic activities. That means learners develop an attitude of liking or loving or understanding, and they will be able to use whatever knowledge they learn in visual art to express themselves by using the elements of visual arts and principles of visual arts. It also helps to discover and develop their creative and expressive abilities through the use of several means, materials, and the techniques in a variety of activities. That is just a depth explanation of what we have stated already about the positive attitudes. Learners will also be introduced to the attributes of meaning, material tools offered to them, and develop skills for creative expression. So whenever that means if you give learners materials and they have got that, the background of the understanding of visual arts, they will be able to use those materials to express themselves. 1.1.4 aims in art education. What do we aim for in this module or for this course when it comes to art education? For the purpose of this course, we will single out some general aims for art education and discuss this. 1.1.4.1 art stimulates creativity. What does that mean? We can say that a learner is creative. When do we say that? It's when we see them creating something that we have never seen before, or that something that have not been in existence before. It can be something that is imagined. So we can say that a learner is creative when he or she is making something new. Creative thinking is therefore when a learner can create an image of something in his or her head, of something that does not exist or that they cannot see. In short, you can say creative thinking is seeing a picture in your head. It's not in there, but you can imagine it, you see it in your head, and you are able to transfer that in a piece of paper or on whatever material that you are working on. For example, if I saw the learner's photo, if I saw the learner a photo of a dog and ask them to draw it, so that means the learner will be drawing, looking at the picture. Now you would ask yourself, do you think at this kind of stage or in this technique, does that learner have an opportunity to stimulate his or her creativity or not? Because the picture is already there. What they need to do is just to draw it as they see it in the picture. So if you think creativity is being stimulated at this stage, then I think unless the learner improved or improvised some contents that are not appearing in the picture, or otherwise it's not stimulated. But if I would describe a dog or read a story about a dog and ask the learner to draw it, their creativity is stimulated. That means if I am explaining and the learner is able to sketch out all the figures as I'm explaining them, and in the end, that specific drawing will look like a dog as I explained it, although it's not exactly how it should, it looks like. In a way, you will understand that here the creativity is being stimulated because the learner was able, just by listening to what you are saying, they are able to sketch it out. The second aim of art education in schools is art develops self-expression. How does it does that? When you let your learners draw a picture or make a model with clay or make collage, in this way you give them an opportunity to express themselves in a way they can. Meaning that maybe you gave your learner a picture, or let me say you did not give them, but you let them draw a picture of their choice, or model or create a model of their choice, or a collage of their choice. That means at this stage, a learner is being given an opportunity to express themselves. How? Because whatever picture, whatever model, whatever collage they will create, it will be something that comes from them. That is why if you have got more than 5 or 10 learners in class, and you gave them, even if it's the same material, which is being pencils to draw, maybe clays to model, or some paper mache to make some collage, you will end up with, if there are 5, it's 5 different artworks. If there are 10, it's 10 different artworks, because here learners have expressed themselves, not instructed on what to do. They expressed what they feel and what they think they should do, and they communicate what they feel they want to communicate. So therefore, a learner can read and write. Before a learner can read and write, art is the only way to express what they know, feel, or what they want to communicate to others. They will use art as a language and make up their own symbols of communicate to the world. So that's how you will learn that. You will know that when a learner has expressed him or herself, when the art contains elements of personality, culture, or background of the background of the learner, because there's one unique thing: it's a relationship between art and culture. These things grows from the same root. So learners and artists, even ordinary artists, whatever they throw of what they are going through at that specific time, or something that they have experienced, but in many cases it's something to do with their culture and their own background. The third aim of visual arts education is the hand and eye training. Art education is considered to be a useful training ground in the acquisition of motor skills and the completion of set tasks. All useful for future education. Hand-eye training in pre-primary school and primary education must take second place after self-expression. I hope you are able to remember what we have talked under the self-expression aim of visual art education. A big brush and a bright paint can be used to practice patterns for hand-eye coordination and not for the sake of painting. That's why you see in many books, there will be coloring in and a trace on dotted lines activities. this hand-eye training and not about it does not allow for creativity or self-expression. When you teach bigger learners, you will include more skilled training and lesser self-explanation. This will be very helpful for learners who become more self-conscious of their art talent. So how do we understand this hand-eye training? Is it about stimulating creativity, or is it about self-expression, or is it about learning how to transfer the image that you have got in the head onto the surface, which can be a piece of paper or a clay that you are using to model? So it's more of how can one use their hands on paper in order to be able to draw or to model something. That is a brief about hand-eye training. You see, and you are able to transfer it to your hand and do it. Art and culture. Art and culture. Art and culture. When we talk about art and culture, when we talk about art and culture, we have to understand the belonging of these two terms or practices, art and culture, because naturally, how art and culture illuminate our inner lives and enrich our emotional world. So it's through our culture, or let me put it this way. If it wasn't for art, will we be able to have museums and statues? Because all these museums, what do we find in there? Our cultural identities. So art is a tool that is used to document and record our cultural practices. That I will put it that way in a general description. So through art education, we also recognize culture in schools. The identity of the young learner is linked with his or her culture and cannot be separated. By allowing a learner to use cultural symbols in her artwork, the learner gains trust in the system and promotes learner-centered teaching. So the learner have to feel that they have given opportunity to express themselves, and through their expressiveness, they are presenting who they are and where they are coming from. In other way, the cultural diversity of Namibia is perceived. That is like what I stated before, that art is the tool that is used to perceive culture, understood and valued. In order for the learner and adult to participate fully in cultural and artistic life, they need to progressively learn to understand, appreciate, and experience artistic expressions by which fellow humans, or often called artists, explore and share insights on various aspects of existence and coexistences. We are still in Unit 1, and the second topic, 1.2, and at 1.2 we are looking at the theories about interpreting learners' art. Because remember, they are learners, and they are coming from different backgrounds. That is why when it comes to interpreting their art, as a teacher, you have to look at the art as individual arts, because expressions which are expressed within these artworks are not the same. They are done by different individuals which are learners, as that's why they carry different expressions. So can we read more into learners' art? That's a question that we should ask ourselves. This is a question that have got many answers. And under this topic, I only look at the two research in your module, which of Catherine Tillman in her paper, Human Figure Drawings, Evaluating Trends in Learner Victims of Sexual Abuse, proved that the human figure drawing of an abused learner differ from that one of a non-abused learner. Now, how can we draw a distinction between the two figures, the one abused and the one that is not abused? What do we look at? Do we look at the colors used? We look at the expressions, let's say facial expression. We have to look at the abused and unabused. So learners expresses themselves all in these figures. They will be more expressing about the feeling of what, or about the feeling of the event that have happened. The abused learner will express maybe a shared face, a worried face, an uncomfortable face. But what we know is that it will not be as the same as the non-abused learner, because maybe the non-abused learner will be expressing about happiness and everything that got nothing to do, or that does not show a bothered someone at all. Also, the study of Frederick, in his paper, Learner's Art as a Helpful Index of Anxiety and Self-Esteem with Plastic Surgery, recording drawings of his patients before and after plastic surgery, and observed very clear differences. So here, what are we looking at? I think with Frederick's here, he looked at the same patient. The same patient is before the surgery and after the surgery, and you observe all what differs from the before and after the plastic surgery. Okay. Still under 1.2, the theory about interpreting learners' art, a number of theoretical models have been offered over the years to explain learners' artistic development. While these models might vary, for example, in the number of proposed stages, they all propose a similar pattern of development. One of the progressing from scribbling to realistic presentation. Other generations that might be, other generations that might be made include the socio-economic factors, learners' drawings, considerable overlap exists between stages. So, but let's get back to the first paragraph and to the example of how learners progress. It depends on the proposed stages, and the scribbling means that learners draw without coordinating, and we refer to it as the first stage of art education development. They don't, you give them a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, it's a quick writing there and it's not coordinated, and in the end you're not even able to figure out what it is, other than that maybe the circles repeating themselves or jig-jag lines that are on top of each other. But that graduates to the stage of a realistic presentation, whereby learners try to draw things as they see them, as they really look in their real life. So, other generations that might be made include the socio, as I stated before, the socio-economic factors. How does that, or what does that mean? So it means to have a little influence on the earliest stage. For example, all learners began drawing by scribbling, like we explained before, that it's drawing a picture without coordinating it. Let's say the learner here have got no idea of what they are drawing, but they are putting marks on a piece of paper that they have got, and the access and the pencil or the pen that they have got access to. So moreover, girls and boys tend to draw alike at the earlier stages. So there is no distinction between, you won't be able to differentiate whether it was a girl's drawing or it was boys' drawings. So it's mostly the same drawings that they put down there. Learners' drawings typically show greater development than painting. What does that mean? Paint requires more skills, one will say. One have to be patient with painting, and one have to be careful with painting as well, although they say there is no mistake in art, because you can always paint over the mistake or something that you think is not correct. But comparing paint to drawing, drawing is easier to control than paint and a brush. That is the difference. And the third generation is considerable overlap exists between stages. Two stages might be represented in one work, and a learner might regress to a previous stage before advancing to the next stage. It's normal, and it differs from a learner to a learner. Some learners grow very slowly, and some maybe forget. That's why they regress to the previous stage. But it depends on how one grows when it comes to art. It's also unlikely that a learner will reach the later stage without the later stages without adult support or instructions. In other words, development in art is not universal, and therefore it depends on the environment in which a learner grows up and is educated. So learners need guidance for them to progress and to remain with the understanding of visual arts. 1.2.1 different stages of development. You can get all this information in your module, and I have just briefly highlighted them here. And it's more of a repetition or a recap of what we have done in 1.2. Stage 1 is the scribbling stage. That's between 2 years and 4 years. Learners typically draw their uncoordinated figures. Stage 2, which is between 4 and 7, it's also called a pre-semantic stage or a symbolic stage. First conscious creation of form occurs around age 3 and provides a tangible record of a learner's process or learner's thinking process. So at this stage, you will be able to recognize some symbols of what the learner is trying to draw or to communicate in comparison with what happens in stage 1. Stage 3, it's advanced from the pre-stage, which is the second stage, and this is called the semantic stage. It's between 7 and 9 years. This presents the learner's active knowledge of subject. At this stage, there is a definite order in space, relationship, and every content in the artworks sits on a basement. So that means drawings are not in the air; they are seated on the basement. So if I have to just illustrate a little bit on these stages, because I think that will have a little bit of understanding. That is stage 1. We'll start with stage 1, which is between 2 and 4 years. 4 years. Here, the scribbling. This is when you give a child a pen, and that is what you see. So you want to be able to do what? To see what is being expressed there. So this is the scribbling stage, which is stage 1. And we also look at stage 2, which is between 4 and 7 years. So here, maybe you will be able to see a little bit of what the child is trying to, or the learner is trying to draw. So it's more of symbolic image, and that is the prismatic, prismatic stage. That is stage 2. And stage 3, that is between 7 and 9 years. At this stage, that is the stage where I was previously when I stated that here figures are seated on a specific base or surface. So you can see in scribbling, you can see that in scribbling, it's just jig-jang lines that are in the air, and still at the stage 2, it's figures, but still with no basements and just in the air. But maybe in stage in stage 4, instead, let me just remove this. In stage not 4 but 3, stage 3. Stage 3, which is between 7 and 9 years. Here, figures they are seated. There is a surface. You can see that they are not in the air anymore. That means the child or the learner is growing and it's improving, and it's graduating from stage to stage. Then we go look at the stage stage 4, which is between 9 and 13 years, of age. Learners at this stage of artistic development are very critical of their own success. So their success is determined by the level of realism achieved in the drawing. So if you look, these are just kind of symbolic figures. But in this stage, if a learner here is drawing, let's say it's a baby girl, maybe. Here, they are trying to put a little bit of details. They want to put a little bit of details. So they are becoming realistic. You are able to identify what kind of a figure or a type of a figure that is being displayed. And we look at the stage 5. It is between 13 and 16 years of age. So at this stage, learners at this stage will decide to continue drawing or view it as an activity without merit. So because of the level of self-criticism inherited at this stage, many learners, now young adults, view drawing as a skill that they can do or do not possess. So they choose if they want to continue drawing or they find it as a boring thing. Maybe they have discovered other interests. Maybe they see no use to it. But it's a stage where they decide whether to continue with the drawing or not. So one will say it's a decisive stage. Okay. That was the last topic that we touched on today under Unit 1.